So, we'll open up with the basics like we always do, and then we're going to get into something a little bit different tonight. I know for some of you it's your first night. If you don't retain all the stuff that we're going to cover, this will be up along with the previous 9 lessons on YouTube, so you can start from the beginning, go through all the material, get caught up. Just try to keep up for now. Okay, so you know, the same basics we always go through. Eye spike, chambering to your right ear, putting the point of the knife in line with the target's eye, shooting straight in here. We're going to shoot this straight in, retract it just as fast as it goes out, follow up with the palm. We'll do 5 with the palm, and 5 going to the face, then 5 with the shoulder check to the right shoulder. Since we've been doing this every week, and I know most of you have been with me, I'm assuming you're pretty comfortable with this, so we're going to burn through the opening pretty quickly tonight. So, 1, 2, 5. Ready? Full speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Going to the shoulder now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Horizontal flick. Palm faces the opponent. Palm faces you. Tip of the blade swiping across the eye like an abanico motion in Filipino martial arts. Try to limit the arm motion as much as possible. Make it a tight motion with the wrist here. 5 following up to the face. 5 going into the shoulder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 going to the shoulder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Face edge. Taking the tip of the knife, ripping down the opponent's face, going across the eye, hooking to the outside in a reverse J motion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Going to the shoulder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Eye pluck. Palm is facing up. Into the eye here. Pull the elbow back to the ribs, keeping the point of the knife oriented towards the opponent throughout the motion here. Important factor here is bringing the elbow back to the ribs. Just keep the arm aligned properly, keep the blade oriented properly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shoulder blast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And parting gift. Palm is down. Come to the right eye here. Rip backwards. Bring the elbow back to the ribs here. Following up. Palm to the face. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 with a shoulder blast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, eye spike, palm. Actually, take whatever eye shot you want to open with, mix it up a bit. Eye shot, palm, brachial. Going straight through, keep the blade vertical, come across this artery, sever it completely. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. We'll do 10. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Now, again, any eye attack you want to open with, this time, get the shoulder check in there. preemptively checking the shoulder to inhibit any counter the opponent might be launching. 1, 2. Then we're going to flank. Turn the blade horizontal, run it parallel to the ground, go between the ribs and into the lung here. When you're transitioning from the shoulder check into the lung puncture, it's good to give it a good hard blast to really whip the opponent to the side and expose this flank. I don't want to knock this dummy into the camera, so I'm going to hit this pretty soft. If you have a particularly heavy bob dummy that you're working with, go ahead and get used to giving this a good blast here. Then going into the lung. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Also notice as I do this check over here, I'm not leaving my left hand on the target. After I pop this, I'm retracting this back here, touching my right shoulder, so I have a barrier now between myself and the opponent. This can help me drive the opponent back, push off of him, or grab, hold him, turn him this way. Use a garment manipulation, which is something we'll be exploring a little bit later on tonight. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So tonight what I want to look at mismatched weapons. When it comes to blade work or stick work for that matter, I tend to spend a lot of time thinking about blade on blade or stick on stick, even staff on staff. Less time gets spent exploring the concept of knife against stick, knife against baseball bat, taking a longer range weapon and putting it up against a shorter range weapon. So that's what I want to talk about tonight. If you've ever done this kind of sparring before, you quickly realize that it becomes a battle of ranges. Whoever has the longer range weapon wants to stay on the outside, create distance, stay out of the range of the knife, pick them apart from the outside. Whoever has the blade is constantly working to get in close, inhibit the effectiveness of the opponent's impact weapon by getting in tight, taking the range advantage away, doing damage in tight. So what you find is when you're on the outside, obviously the person with the longer range impact weapon holds the advantage. But once you get inside here, you have a weapon that's much faster, capable of doing much more damage. So the person with a knife, once they get in range, quickly takes over and has the advantage. So if you're in an open space, very open space, like for the sake of illustration, we'll say a football field, obviously the person with the range weapon has all the room in the world to maneuver around. It's very hard to close the distance on someone who has that much space to operate and keep retreating, keep circling. Conversely, if you're in a small room, like a small living room for example, you'll find that the person with a knife can quickly corner the person with the longer range weapon, taking away their advantage and overwhelming them. If you're in a situation where it's somewhere in between, you'll need to start cutting off the range if you're the person with the blade. If he knows that he has to circle to keep backing himself from in the corner, you step over and block his path as he's moving, and then press him here so you can drive him back into a wall, pin them there, and then do your damage. For tonight, we're going to assume that we're in a position where I don't have the luxury of using walls to corner the opponent. So there's two concepts we're going to be working. One is ending things as quickly as possible once we get inside. Just doing a devastating amount of damage that's going to end the altercation quickly before he can push me off or retreat himself, create distance, and reclaim the advantage. The other thing we're going to be doing is we're going to take a look at how to grab hold, foot trap, or grab hold of the clothing to hold the opponent in place so he can't physically retreat and do my damage from that position. So we're going to start here. Let's work Just let me check my notes very quickly. So we're going to start with a G shove. So a G shove is stacking the arms this way, the point of the knife directed at the brachial artery. So two ways to do this. You can stack your arms here, look over the top, or you can create a gap between your arms and look through the middle here. The idea behind this is I'm bringing my arms up to cover the vital points on my head, protect my neck, my jaw, even my temples a little bit, so that if I do take some impact damage coming in, I'm taking it on the arms as I move through here, just barreling through, creating this structure that's going to protect my head, my face, my throat, and move into the opponent here. Now the idea is when I cover up, I also want to go into the right brachial artery with the stab. So I'm covering up to protect myself, but I'm also ramming the point of the knife into the brachial artery here. So let's isolate that motion and just do that 10 times. Ready? 1, slow, back here, 2, 3, and incidentally this is the right on top of the left right now, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So as you're training this motion, envision someone with a baseball bat, a crowbar, an iron pipe, some kind of impact weapon swinging at you, and you're getting inside the range of that arc and just colliding with them. So from here, point down, edge and grip. I've already hit the brachial artery. I'm just going to raise up here and rip across the throat, hopefully taking both the arteries and the windpipe and just completely ripping the neck open. So the motion we're going to do, we're going to go 1, raise up, 2. So if he was wearing heavy enough clothing, I could grab on to it here, pull him to the side as I rip this open. So let's do 10 of those, medium speed. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's get 5, full speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we're going to stack left on top of right. So we're going to move through here, stabbing. This is one of Lee Morrison's variations. We're going to bring this down across the abdomen and rip the abdomen open here, and come back into the throat. So left is on top of right, move in here, come down, step out to the side. The step to the side is very important. If I'm in here and I just stay in front of him and try and gut him here, and he moves into me, my blade can get jammed against my body and trapped here. So I need to make sure I'm stepping off this line here, getting my blade out from between us here where it's in position to work, then attacking here. So left on top of right this time. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So 10 of those medium speed. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, 5, full speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so that's the principle. Covering, crashing into the opponent here, then just doing a tremendous amount of damage and that beat wearing close. So now we're going to work anchoring onto the opponent, preventing him from retreating. So in this instance, we're going to use the eye spike and cup the back of the opponent's head. When I cup the back of his head, there's 2 important things to keep in mind. The first, so I'm going to make this an impact. I don't just want to grab the back of the head here. Make that concussive. The second thing is I want to make sure I get my own head offline here. What I don't want to do is move in here, have us colliding heads, unless I'm intentionally going for a headbutt, which we're not doing in this instance. So 1, 2. I'm actually bringing this into my shoulder here. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay. Let's do 10 of those, medium speed. 1, making sure to get the head offline. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so following up from there, we're going to go 1, 2, lung puncture. 1, 2, lung puncture. 1, 2, lung puncture, kidney stab. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Making sure to make this an impact, getting your head offline. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do 10 of those, medium speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now let's do 5 of those, full speed. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now, if you happen to grab a shoe, put that at the base of your dummy. We're going to work the foot trap we did a few weeks ago. Same technique, only as I grab the head here, I'm taking this foot trap. So I'm moving in here and stepping forward and taking the foot trap to make sure that I have full control of him. So now he can't lean back, but he also can't step back. So I'm grabbing his head, pulling his body against me, but also making sure he can't move this foot. Now I have him really anchored securely to me. So let's do 5 medium speed. 1. As I was mentioning last time we did the foot traps, if you have the presence of mind in a life and death situation to do this, which chances are you won't when the adrenaline starts flowing, but if you do have the presence of mind to do it, you can also make this a really heavy foot stomp, try and shatter those bones in the foot as I move in here. Don't get too lost in that little nuance. Like I said, in the heat of a real life altercation, you're probably not going to have the presence of mind to do that. Just put it in the back of your head somewhere. Right now, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get 5 of those in with the foot trap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now, moving into garment manipulations. If you have some old shirt that you can throw over your dummy now that you can grab hold of, now's the time to do it. I use this old Baja hoodie, and as you can see, it's about as worn out as it could possibly be. At some point I'm going to need to get a new one. I like using these Baja hoodies because they're relatively inexpensive, and despite the damage you see on this one, they tend to be very well made, so you can really grab them, get used to manhandling the dummy, and still have the garment hold up for a considerable amount of time. So this time, we're going to work using the clothing to control the opponent. So when it comes to garment manipulations, we're going to be working the right and the left shoulder. What you don't want to do is reach out and just grab for the fabric with your fingers here. Produces a weak grip. You don't get a lot of purchase on the fabric. It's very easy if they move just to miss it altogether, or if you do get a hold of it, they can pull away or you can tear it. What you want to do is slap into it. So you want to slap like a palm strike or coming down, and then gather the fabric up. So it needs to be a smack and a gather. Now, when you gather, you want to keep your thumb on the outside. You don't want to roll your thumb into the fabric here, because if he does pull away suddenly, it could do damage to your thumb. Now, something you see in some prison fighting systems, I learned this from I learned this in research I'm doing into a prison fighting system that comes from Folsom. In prison situations, when they would work any kind of garment manipulation, because the prison clothing was very light and tore very easily, they would always practice grabbing the seams, because that point where the seam is joined, you're grabbing the two separate pieces of fabric where they meet, and it reduces the risk of having them rip. So if you're in a situation where you're doing this on someone who's wearing lighter fabric that you're concerned is going to rip, try and aim for the seams, gather that up, and it'll minimize the risk of the clothing ripping. So first thing we're going to do is the eye spike, that shoulder check that we were doing into the right shoulder earlier, but now we're going to gather up this fabric here. Now, when I take control of the right shoulder, what I want to do is use my knuckles to drive the shoulder back. Here, pretend this is the right shoulder just for illustrative purposes. I want to push my knuckles into this so he can't put his shoulder behind his shots with the impact weapon that he's using. If he does start winging it around on me, trying to use his wrist to sort of get whipping strikes in, I can take this and pull it in tight here, again getting my head off line to get inside. So I can use this to push his shoulder away or pull him into me here. So first thing we're going to do, eye spike, shoulder check, gather the fabric up. 1, 2, gather. Remember, make this a slap, gather, get your thumb to the outside. 1, 2. Just get 10 of those in. Simple motion. Let's go full speed with it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now we're going to go 1, 2, grab, 3, 4. So we're going to hit the brachial, lung puncture. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do 10 of those medium speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so now let's do 5 full speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Now, bring out your shoe, your flip flop. We're going to do the same thing with the foot trap. So, there you go. 1. So we get this grab in. That's where we're going to take the foot trap. 2, or I'm sorry, 3, 4. So we're going to go 1. Get this garment manipulation and the foot trap in simultaneously. 3, 4. Again, one more time slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now, let's do 5 of those full speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So now, put the shoe aside. This time, I'm going to hit the eye, reaching across here, keeping my shoulder rolled up a little bit to help protect my jaw, my temple here as I grab hold of this. Same kind of monkey grip here. Pull the opponent to the side, lung kidney. So let's isolate the first 2 motions a few times. So I grab, pull. So in this instance, I'm taking the left shoulder, I'm pulling it across the body to put his body between the weapon and myself. So 1, 2, pull. 1, 2, pull. And as I pull, I'm pulling him across my body, but I'm also stepping past him at the same time. So I'm pulling him towards me and stepping past him to really get a deep flank on him here. 1, 2, pull. Okay. Now let's add in the counter strikes. Eye spike, grab, pull, lung, kidney. Eye spike, grab, pull, lung, kidney. One more time. Eye spike, grab, pull, lung, kidney. Okay. Now, 5 times, full speed. 1. 2. Sorry, that time I went into the brainstem. It's another option. And if you want to work that one in, that's fine too. If you want to hit the lung, brainstem, hit the kidney, brainstem, either of those are fine. 3. 4, 5. So now, taking the shoe back, putting it at the base of the dummy. We're going to do the same thing, but with the foot trap. Just like with the last one. So I grab here. That's where I want to take this foot trap. Now, anytime you're reaching across and trapping the person's right foot and bringing their left shoulder across that foot, you really compromise their balance, put them in a very vulnerable state. So I was discussing last time we worked the foot traps. In that position, if he happens to go over, it'll snap his ankle. So we're going to go 1, 2, take the foot trap, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, you probably hear my dog crying in the background. She wants to be in the video. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now 5, full speed. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. All right, so basic principles. Dealing with someone with a weapon in an open space where you can't corner them and put them into a wall. First, crash into them. Do altercation ending injuries right off the bat. Tremendous amount of damage, so it doesn't matter if they create space or not. Altercation is already over. Second approach, grabbing onto them, maybe throwing a foot trap in there, holding them against you while you do your damage so they can't create distance. Or grabbing hold of their clothing, pulling them in tight, maybe flanking them, pressing your attack from there. And with the garment manipulations, you can also work the foot traps in there as well. The idea is, what I don't want to do is get in a situation where I'm moving in on the opponent. Maybe I'm outside of range here. When I'm trying to stay out of range, I move in, go for the shot. Maybe I hit his forehead, I don't get his eye. He steps back, I'm hunting around again, trying to lunge in and get him, and I'm chasing him around. You don't want to get in the chasing mindset. Once you get at the range you need to be at, you want to end it right there. If you can do the damage fast and end the altercation, that's fine. If you need to latch onto him to make sure he doesn't get away, that's fine too. But you don't want to be constantly pursuing him. So we'll wrap it up there this week. I know the store is out of a lot of items. Working on getting those stocked as fast as I can. In the meantime, there's always the digital downloads. If you go to the website, there's the digital tab. Top, that takes you to the page that has the downloads. Those are always in stock. As always, hope everyone's staying safe, staying healthy. Hopefully this will all be over soon. Feels like we're starting to move towards the end of this, but until quarantine's lifted, I plan on being here every Wednesday. Hope you guys are too. So we'll see you next week.